Hi, this is Greg Hildebrandt, and you're listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast.
Listen, I think if a prelim sketch comes up by Greg Hildebrandt, you just
wow, you're going to start the recording now. And
I am going to start the recording
conversation. Now. Wow, well, that's dirty.
Well, okay. No, I couldn't click the button fast enough.
Click fast enough.
I couldn't click fast enough. You know me, I can barely drive this thing, let alone what's this in the way? Oh, it's a letter. There we go. It's all right. Just from my pension provider. We don't need to know about that. So to open this episode, we will have Greg Hildebrandt.
Greg Hildebrandt, which is perfect for this conversation. Context of the conversation. Greg Hildebrandt is posting
daily
some sketches daily.
Prelim sketches.
And if you're prelim sketches, and if you're on the email server, you're getting email notifications. Ian sent me the surfer one, and I
passed. You missed it. It's already gone.
Yeah, so a totally useless link that was sent to me by Ian because it's already gone. But anyway, so yeah, I didn't get it. And I was telling Ian, who we were supposed to be taking an oath together about, spending less, and he's making exceptions.
I'm saying all I'm saying is if a Hildebrandt sketch comes up, you know
what I'm saying? When a Hildebrandt sketch comes up and you send a friend a link that is already sold out.
Listen, I was that eager
giving them for not buying it.
I sent you the link before I saw it was sold out because I hadn't clicked on the link. The main thing was I wanted to make sure you got the link as soon as you could. I'm not going to spend time checking it's still valid or anything like that. My main thing is get it to you as quick as possible.
I probably have been guilty of that.
Which I have just done to someone else because his character came up and he has read the message, but has he bought the item? Who knows? Let me click on the item and see if it's gone out of stock.
I mean, he might have ran to go buy it and didn't tell you thank you right away because he's still buying it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Got his PayPal information.
Don't know.
But
it's $75.
Well, here's the other caveat. I do know where the 94 mm prelim is for Surfer, which is beautiful.
Is it under your mattress?
It's under my pillow. No, I wish. No. But one day I think I'll get it. I'll get it one day.
Ew.
Hey, man. Don't judge me in my collection. I'm enjoying
I'm not judging. You're enjoying collecting. There we go. Thanks for tuning in, people. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.
Here we begin.
Right. Okay. Oh, hang on. I've got to push the right button. There we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Taylor, and you're listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast, your weekly digest of hobby goodness 2023. Woo! With me, as always, is my co-pilot in all things Marvel cards. Our State of the Hobby is now the official 51st state and will appear on stamps, coins, and flags in the coming days, thanks to the sterling campaign and lobbying efforts of Noah and Rad.
You're welcome.
What can I say except you're welcome?
You're welcome.
Big tattoos on my boobs.
Nope. No.
You've seen that film, I'm guessing. You must have seen that.
I've seen that film, but now I've seen that image. And now there's no going back.
Good. Thank you. Let me just move my keys. They were just there in front of me, and I thought I can't possibly do an episode of the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. Yes, for that is the realm into which you have stumbled, dear viewer stroke listener. And if anyone can send an image of a viewer stroking a listener, then you will win a prize. Anyway, how you doing? I'm a little bit hungover.
Modeling the fake prize we have.
Oh, brilliant. Wonderful. No, we'll find something. We'll find something. I'm literally surrounded by piles and boxes of cards because it's been 2 days since I last recorded. Not very, because it's only been 2 days since our last recording.
That's true. Slacker.
But I get it. Yeah, I know. I tell you what I have had arrive, actually. Let me show you these. So, and we will touch on this possibly today. Possibly today? Yes, possibly today. Maybe not. Is I ordered a batch of one-touch cases.
Damn.
Which
What
aren't
are you going
cheap.
to put in one touches?
Which aren't cheap in the UK.
Yeah. Not cheap here.
They're not cheap anywhere. But the main ones you can get in the UK are Ultra Pro, which has its ups and downs, because Ultra Pro, for some cards, because the cards aren't maybe cut quite as correctly,
Evenly?
or no, they're even. They're just out by like half a point or a point, and they just don't quite fit in. So, for example, I've just ordered a load of 35-point one touch. Okay. And when I say a load, that's 10, and that was almost $50, for those. So it's going to be a long.
That was almost 50.
Yeah, in the UK. Ultra Pro is pretty much the dominant brand in the UK because of all the Magic and Pokemon and stuff. BCW I can get, but I have to order it from Germany. And as for any of the other brands, people keep sending me links and saying, "Oh yeah, these are the best brands. These are the best brands like Vortex and Slim Fit and all this sort of stuff." You can't get them over here, so it's actually not cost effective at all. Anyway, so I went for Ultra Pro, and I got 10 35-point ones simply to put in my autos. So I started casing up my autos. I got some sleeves as well. Although these sleeves, again, it's one of those things. They're not snug fit because the sleeves are designed to go from 35-point up to 260-point one touches. So of course they are going to have a little bit of wiggle room on the 35-point. But got my Michael Keaton.
That's sick.
Homecoming auto. One touch.
What is it called? I guess you just said it. Superior Fit. I guess they don't ship
Superior Fit. To be honest with you, I didn't look on their site because it's kind of the thing I just need to be able to do locally.
It makes sense.
It's tough enough getting.
I think I did notice, for all your listeners and viewers out there, but I did notice that for some cards, if they are cut where it's too high, right? They didn't cut it evenly around to standard trading card size. If it's too high, if you buy a magnetic holder that's really deeper than the thickness of the card,
35-point,
it actually will fit.
Yeah, well,
you have a lot of that space there, which sucks. But that's the only fix I've because I had like 2 or 3 cards like that. It's the only fix I've been able to do.
Well, the other fix is alternately buy a different brand, because BCW, for example, so Ultra Pro.
That's right. Some BCW ones will fit better.
Yeah, Ultra Pro for the Marvel Black Diamond shards, it just won't sit in. But apparently the BCW ones will. So I chose 10 autos out of my pile. I wanted to choose some nice ones just to get the thrill of it. So I got my Charlie Cox, and they got me Electra.
Wow.
Defenders one. In fact, I've got my Charlie Cox Defenders one as well.
Oh, good. There's one in his one is he's in a suit, the other
he's
one
in his civvies, right? There. Yeah. There is a in his suit one from the Daredevil set, but I don't have that. And there is, I believe, one in his civvies from the Defenders set. So I don't need to own 4.
No. You got the pairing. That's what I was asking. Nice. You got one in the costume, one not.
Got Punisher.
That's cool. Oh, that's cool.
It's a nice one. Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones. Her auto's gone off the sticker on that one, which is a bit of a.
She's great, man.
Bit of a bore.
She's so good.
What else? So in this stack of cards, one of these I noticed is, let's do this live. This is what we were going to do at all, but we are now. One of these
we're deep in this now.
Is a BCW. So this is a BCW. I already had this one, and this is what it came in. So the card that wouldn't fit into an Ultra Pro was one of these. It was one of these purple MCU PMGs.
Oh wow, interesting.
So let's live on air see if it will fit. Sorry, Charlie, you're about to get booted out.
Charles.
Yeah, this is where I drop it on the floor and it goes.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
don't do that.
I'm having trouble getting it open. There we go.
That's what she said.
Easy now. Right. So we have a BCW 35-point that's empty. This is fascinating listening. So if you're listening to this and you want to be seeing it,
wait. I'm I'm gonna talk about it like an anchor.
Okay, go ahead.
Ian's coming up to the plate, and he is holding the loader, holding the card very well, fine, showing it to the camera. He is close. He is making his way to insertion, and he is letting it hit, drop with a very good 2-finger standard.
And it's perfect.
And it's in. We have
perfect.
contact.
So BCW.
Yeah.
So there's your answer. The purple PMGs.
BCW. There you go.
Which is nice.
Slightly
so I need to
taller
wait for that German
holder.
German seller to get him back.
Wow, you just kicked out Charlie like that? He's out?
He's out. It was he's doing the walk of shame, isn't he? Fucking She-Hulk.
That's perfect.
I did that. I can believe I did that. Charlie, for now, my friend, you are going into there, and you'll have to wait till next month's order of One Touch. 35 points, because I can only afford
to be with your friends, buddy.
10
That's
a month.
Sad. What a sad story.
But I've already got my Vin Diesel autos from Riddick in one. So yeah. So basically, my autos. I've got my Clark Gregg from Thor.
Cool.
That's a nice.
I love
one.
that.
What is that? An Ultra Pro? Yeah, that's an Ultra Pro. And just to prove the old adage that two Wongs don't make a right.
I love it. That was good. That was good. That was good.
Okay, let's start the show. Actually, no, that's not. Before I go on, someone sent me an Aliens dual auto. I got this off a UK seller. And
who are the actors?
It's in. It is Colette Heller and Daniel Cash. So it's Spunkmeyer and Ferro. So it's the two dropship.
Oh, yeah.
Pair.
Wow.
Sorry, it doesn't show very well. Okay,
yeah, sorry, that's why I asked.
These cards. Anyway, it is nice, but it's in an unbranded mag case. I've got no idea what brand this is.
Interesting.
It doesn't say. Well, it doesn't say at all. And I won't be keeping it in. Maybe I will. Don't know. But it's a thicker card, so I think that's at least a 55 point, probably a 75 point. But yeah, nice. Anyway, and I digress. So last week, folk would have heard our first of a few State of the Hobby episodes that we have egotistically decided to call it because that's the kind of people we are. So those of you who've heard that, we were kind of talking about. Those of you who haven't heard it, rather, we were talking about quitting. And in some cases, quite quitting. So people who've gotten frustrated with the hobby and decided to maybe bail or change or cut back or whatever. And what started it off was my theoretical cycle, which is complete bunkum and has only just come out of my head. But we talked about it last week, and I'm curious to hear listeners' thoughts on this. So please feel free to message or comment either on the Facebook post or the YouTube channel. So my cycle I had of a collector is phase 1, discovery and overreaching, in parentheses afterwards. Phase 2 is more discovery and realignment, question mark at the end. Phase 3, reduction and finessing. Phase 4, which is where I think Norrin and I might be at the moment, contented curation. And phase 5 is
without a doubt
is phase 5. I think I'm still a little bit in phase 3 actually. Reduction and finessing. Reduction, he says, sitting here.
You had a lot more to reduct
of cards.
You had a lot more. Well, I mean,
I've decided what my next reduction is going to be as well. My next 2 reductions. Well, you know the first one.
I love hearing about these.
Well, you know the first one is going to be my trimming of my Black Cat sketches.
Which
hashtag Road to 79.
I did Road to 48. I did my list yesterday and all the prices I paid and my artists and everything like that, because I got 2 more sketches from MCC 98 from a buddy.
Nice.
So they're not like massively anything, but like they're really cool looking. So I got those 2. But yeah, I did my list yesterday and I did my prices and I did like the artists, and like on my list I have it. I'm not gonna say that, but yeah. So I have all that stuff, but yeah, because I'm doing it's crazy town stuff. But I love that though. So I am doing Road to 48 with you.
Good. But you're building up to 48, aren't you?
So I think I actually have less than 48, but not by much.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to do some editing soon enough. But I'm okay. I like 48 as like my safety.
All right. That's good. My challenge on that is I've got some sketch cards that were gifted to me by people, and I feel a bit funny about selling them because they were gifted to me. So I've decided I'm going to give those away. I'm going to pay that forward. So
that's good.
So yeah, so I know there's at least one sketch that simply won't fit in my collection that I think I showed you off air last week that was gifted to me, but I've only just received it. So it's like, I'm gonna pay that forward. So nice. Anyway, and then phase 5 was rediscovery, because sometimes you can come back around. So
come back full circle.
So basically, the question I posted, the first question, which we talked on last week. So I posted a second question, which is basically, I posted on the group and I said, okay, so today let's look on the bright side as we continue to check in with ourselves and say, you okay, hun? I like that.
I like it.
How has the current stroke recent hobby climate, many described, and if you want to hear that described, look at last week's podcast, or rather listen to it. How has the hobby climate many described changed how you collect? How have you adapted? And would this change have happened anyway, or was it triggered stroke evolved as a result of the recent Marvel cards pump? So quite a few people did actually kind of touch on that in the answers they gave to the first question, because they said, well, I'm not doing this anymore and I haven't quit, but I'm doing this instead. So, which is fine, but I simply can't cross-reference both posts because both of them had an absolute ton of comments, as has the one that I posted earlier today. So yeah, this is great. This is great. I love it. So thank you, first of all, to everyone. In case I don't say it later on, in case I forget, thank you to everyone who's contributed to that and given their thoughts, and because it's
awesome.
It's a
great post. It's a really great post.
Well, it's one thing I always say to people about this podcast, and I think it gets people just lose it. This podcast is for collectors. It's for everyone out there who's listening, who's into it. We want you to contribute and help us shape what you want to hear. So this is the perfect example. So I'm just going to go through some of the answers because I thought there were some really, really lovely, really positive, good points. And there's one in particular I want to come back to. But I kind of jotted these down. I did put them in kind of an order. So I'm going to start off with Steve Amato. You say Steve. Amato, I say Amato.
Amato.
Nice. Let's call the whole thing off.
Nice guy.
Yeah. So I'm so sorry, Steve. I'm so sorry.
No, he's a gem. He's a really nice guy.
I don't think. Do I know Steve? Is he on Instagram? Do I know him as something
he's
that
on
has no
Instagram.
relation to his name on Instagram?
He has a really great DC Joker collection. If I'm not mistaken, and he has great Marvel collection too. But he's
cool.
More along the lines of He goes a little bit everywhere, but he's also a pretty big character collector too.
Oh, cool! All right. So he's thrown in. Now I've typed his whole thing here, so I'm just going through it. But in all of these, there's an absolute gem and a nugget. So Steve said, the cause of the pump is more than just high money flippers entering the space from the sports world. Compared to sports, Marvel cards, especially new sets, are much more limited. Now I'm going to pause there and say, absolutely. So one thing we've always said on this podcast is that the Marvel card scene, the sports card, they print those. Yeah, there are hundreds of sets a year in almost, across the 4 major sports. I'm boring you there, dear.
Yeah, you are.
Don't blame me. Blame Steve.
No.
You're boring. No. The hundreds of sets and thousands of cards, whereas the Marvel, is a lot smaller. There's a lot less product out there, especially given last year when there was so little released, and yet the demand, or the perceived demand, was potentially at its highest. So he's got a point there.
Yeah, demand was high. We only know demand was high factually because things sold out so quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the big one. I mean, I think a lot of people did buy to hold, but I don't know how normal that is from those kind of audiences, like
That's
those
the
kind of
thing.
sports collectors. Like, I'm not sure how much sports product is open as opposed to how much sports product is kept sealed. I don't
That's
know.
an interesting one. I don't know what.
Right?
What
Like,
to do
I
with
don't
that.
know if that's like a common practice, because I know a few like case and box collectors for Marvel, but nothing like I would imagine as in sports. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we
No,
know a
that's a
few
fair
people,
point. Yeah.
but barely. I don't know. Sorry, I
Yeah.
interrupted. It
No.
was just interesting. I was just trying
No,
to
it
figure
is
that
interesting.
out.
So Steve goes on. A couple of years ago, there were so many people that would say, "I didn't even know these cards existed." As collectors who love to share their collections, it has created more exposure, and many more people have entered the hobby. Just look at the amount of members that have joined this group in the last 2 years. The hobby has changed, but is similar to many other things in life. Those who are in early reap great benefits, which were buying many cards at affordable prices. And as time goes on, more and more people join, the price goes up. It's the same with investments like crypto, stocks, real estate, etc. And this is the bit that I like. Even a favorite bar that is a hidden gem that gets exposure from some travel channels doing a special on it, and you can no longer get a stall at the bar because it's so crowded. It's got cheers in mind there. The change I've done is to change expectations and accept what it is and be extremely grateful at what I was able to collect before the bar got crowded. So what I've taken away from that is changing expectations. And that's the theme that's echoed across quite a few comments, is people have kind of changed. They're prepared to not be disappointed.
Yeah. I think people are bracing for impact. I think people are having to take a step back and look at what they already own, which is a big part of what you and I were talking about. And truthfully, hopefully this is kind of an interesting thought, but we've been in a hobby for a long time. And it's only deepened my appreciation for my own collection, even though there's things I want out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But I look at my collection and realize there's no way I could grab these now. There's no way I could ever find these even in a few years from now. So it's funny how no matter how long you've been in the collecting world of any collection, there's always this moment of appreciation of there's no way I could grab this. Now I'm so grateful to have it here. You know what I mean? And I think that's like a true hobbyist, a true collector is someone who kind of has those moments. You know what I mean? And not to say true or anything like that. I guess what I mean by that is when you're in it and you're really experiencing it, that's an emotion that comes quite frequently, and it's something I rely on to kind of continue to enjoy the hunt.
Yeah. I guess the one thing, and that's interesting, that whole concept of being grateful. I look at the stuff that I've got, and I've still got this stack of Black Cat stuff here because I haven't had a chance to sort it. Because, as I mentioned, it's only 2 days since the last time I showed it to you. It's apart from tottering wildly from side to side and threatening to tip over, it's stuff that unless I was there to get it when I was right place, right time, and right amount of money in my PayPal. My example on that is always the Vibranium. When that was coming out in 2015.
Yeah.
Was it 2015?
2015.
It was 2015. I went hard on that. And I didn't realize. That was probably the first set where I chased numbered parallels of Cat. That was my first numbered parallel chase.
I just saw your Instagram post about that. And I was, for some reason, I don't know why.
Oh, yeah, that was a PSA.
You have the... You have the plates for that, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I realized that there's the regular on. You've got the base, then you've got I can't remember what it is. Refined, Radiance, Raw, and Bar is a 5. Molten is the other one as well.
Molten.
So basically, you've got 6 cards, including the one of 5. So I've got all those. And the F5 took the longest to come up, but still not that long. I managed to do all this in the space of about 3 or 4 months, and 3 of the 4 printing plates came up.
That's crazy. Well. To get that close on that is insane.
It actually fills up a 9-page as well.
Ooh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so you got 6 cards and 3 plates,
and then the 3 plates.
Yeah, so if the 4th plate ever turned up, I think I'd be like, no. I'm fine, thank you.
I doubt it.
Yeah. Well, it would be nice.
It depends.
But no, that's what I'm saying. But I'm grateful for that. And I look back in my emails, and I did work out how much it cost me to get all those. I think it was about $900.
Unheard of.
You know, I mean, I was still playing $200-300 for a couple of pieces. You know,
it's unheard of.
But I had to kind of go for it. Yeah. I need to go back and revisit. In my head, I've got about $900, but I'll go and top that up again. Anyway, I can't remember why I was saying that. Yeah, no, grateful to be, you know, what I was able to collect basically before the fictional bar. Steve's bar, this little bar that's tucked away somewhere. Shall we call it the hobby?
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah. So that's the little bar that's tucked away. Yeah, that's quite a nice. Should we kind of retire to some?
Yeah, I'm actually down for this.
Warm climate with back streets and little, you know, just off the beach a bit. And there's a little back street you go down. There's a bar just tucked away there.
Yeah. I'm down for that.
Yeah, let's do that.
If we have any real estate friends,
let's open a bar.
You know, find us a good location.
I'll sell those vibranium plates and we'll open a bar.
Well, we're done. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Job done.
We'll have pictures of them that we post with it.
Hashtag retirement fund. Hashtag invest. Now,
wonder, you know, it's funny. I wonder how real all this is going to be for people. Because I'm imagining people are perceiving this as 20, 30 years down the line, that all of these collectibles will some way pay for part of a retirement plan or something of that nature.
Yeah, well, I've got the box of Phantom Menace Darth Maul figures upstairs from 1999.
See, but like in my head, I'm like, we've hit a stage in our society, a culture, that collecting has been seen as something that's going to do that for a lot of people. But in 20, 30 years, is that buyer market going to be there for this thing that a good majority of, you know, people in the last 5 years have built? You know what I mean? Like, I wonder how much of this stuff is actually going to be what people are hoping and perceiving it will be. I wonder, because I see, and you've seen this too, it breaks my heart, but like, you can tell when character collectors stop collecting their character, or have passed away, or quit, or, you know, whatever comes up, or officially calls it done. You can see listings on eBay 10 at a time every couple of weeks of all the same character. You know what I mean? You have that person who collected Mystique, and you see all those Mystique sketches that keep popping up.
Really?
That's the one I remember. That's the one I've been seeing quite frequently, is the Mystique. And I'm just like, it breaks my heart, because they're definitely of us. Well, I wish I had been able to. Basically, I wish I had been able to do what all these other people had done with sketch cards, but I came in not too late. I was just too young. I wasn't able to buy. You know, I wasn't able to buy in 98 and 99. You know what I mean? Like, I had that eBay auction email from 99 where I bought like a Silver Surfer hologram because, you know, I was younger with what I was able to buy. But most character collectors before Ian and I kind of went public, and a few other people went public, were sketches. They collected sketches of their character from all the different artists, which I love. I'm so envious of those collections, very envious of those collections. And, you know, we did it the other way, where we just got the character in all the different sets and stuff like that. But yeah, I always see those people list those things, because I never think the Surfer collection is going to bring me any real retirement. Like, I don't think it will. Like, maybe like 1 or 2 pieces will. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't. Do I really think that's going to happen like that? I don't know if I do.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, not sure. I mean, there'll be a value in it, and the pieces will be desired. So, for example, the first thing is if I put my clogs, you're the one that I'm going to trust to move the collection on to raise money for my family. At the end of the day. So possibly yourself and Matt Fuller, actually, because I know Matt. Would trust Matt.
Matt,
absolutely.
Matt needs to open up a business.
He's done it a couple of times for a couple of people.
He's amazing at it. It's you, Matt. I feel like there's someone else I'm not thinking about, but like it's definitely you or Matt who I would think, or I would like see if Jordan wanted it. Uribo, our buddy, buddy surfer collector.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can't think of anybody else who would. Like for my collection, I know people who want sketches, like our buddy Rick Ortiz, like he would want, surfer sketches, but you know what I mean? Like a whole character collection surfer thing. I don't know.
Rick has heard on episode, can't remember.
I can't remember either.
Lovely guy. It was very nice. It was super a few years ago now. Anyway, now this is the interesting one that's come up. Keith Boyle.
I love Keith.
And I've put little titles next to each of these little sections. So next to Keith Boyle's, I've put "Keep it secret, keep it safe." Keith goes to say, "I'm much more guarded on my chases. Bringing light or posting an in search of list has always led to gouging. Much more of my hobby is private and only shared with those I trust or after I completed it. There are a few good people left, but too much has been competition over community." So this is interesting. I'm going to go on to do a follow-up comment here because someone else brings in the phrase quiet collecting. I like this an awful lot. And it's kind of on the same wavelength as quiet quitting, which was mentioned on the comments last week's show. Yeah. That's right. So Paul Zenisek, lovely fella, owns a store in is it Minnesota? I think he's in Minnesota.
I don't know where
I think he's somewhere cold. Guy. Heroic Goods and Games is his store.
Paul knows a lot more than he leads on, and he has other collections. Paul is next level, man. I'm always pretty impressed with what Paul shows me.
Yeah, no, Paul's good. So Paul says, like Keith said above, I've become a much more quiet collector. Sharing what I'm buying has only led to prices getting raised on me, so now it's a much more private share. I've now focused on sets and cards that I've wanted for years and years. Most aren't modern and most are non-Marvel. It's just been a more fun use of funds and hunting. And Rich Garrison follows up, I too have learned to quietly collect for the same reason. Mm-hmm. I find it fascinating. We've talked about this before because I remember one of this
a lot actually.
I remember when Masterpieces 2018 happened, and then this is an etiquette thing here, and there's this is definitely an etiquette thing. I openly posted on MMC, which was fairly young in that point, and Masterpieces 2018 was just breaking. I posted a link to when it was permitted to post eBay links to live auctions that weren't yours. Posted a link to someone and said, "Oh, there's a plate for your character here." I posted it openly. Some other went in, bought it, and then tried to flip it to the guy I was tagging, which is just.
I remember.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was now.
Funny. It's so funny you brought that up. I think that was the post for me. It's so funny because I think that was the post because we've always talked about this, but I think that was the post where I was like, these MFers are doing this in the group. And that's when I realized the group, and this is horrible to say, but that's when I realized that that was the post that led me to keep a list of character collectors.
And this is back in late 2018. Yeah, this is like November 2018. Yeah.
That was the post because I had started doing it because it was only like 3 or 4 people who I really like. I was like, Greg, Pankit. You know what I mean? I was like, these are actual character collectors.
At this point, I don't think we knew Pankit.
Maybe, well, no. Yeah, we knew Pankit because he was going for the Bianchi stuff.
Anyway.
Remember?
Yeah, I can't. You know what? I can't remember.
I can't remember. But
it all came in thick and fast over that year, 2018 to 2019.
Because Pankit was doing Cap, but then he got really on Bianchi hard.
Yeah, and he got
And went
loads of the
deep dive
Premiere
on that.
Beyond
And
Keyboards
he killed it.
sketches.
I mean, he killed that. Yeah, I mean, a crazy collection. But yeah, so maybe so. But there were character collectors, and I was like writing down people's names and like making sure to keep up with people on Messenger because I was just like, I never want something like that to happen again because that was awful. Like I would be really pissed. Not at you, obviously, but at the prick who did that. Yeah.
Well, now I messaged someone direct, which is what I just did before we started recording about a Hildebrandt piece that went up, and this particular, I don't know if he got it. Let me just refresh. Let's have an update. Did he buy it? Has it sold?
He's gonna laugh his ass off when he hears this episode.
It's out of stock. Okay. Let me just type. You get it? And I'll put like 15 question marks.
You have to put 15 for it to work.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, you won't notice it. I don't know. But someone has bought it. Is the person that I wanted to buy it? Anyway, but quiet collecting, it's an interesting thing. And it's been particularly bad when people have gone for dollar over any sort of moral compass, basically. Someone referenced it. We referenced it last week, and it's that week when Spidey Unbound and people who were, previously mild-mannered reporter for the Daily Planet turned into I'm trying to think of a DC villain, turned into Darkseid at the flip of a coin because they want to be able to flip that Spidey Unbound thing group. That was
I mean, it becomes
it happens.
It becomes a money thing.
Yeah, that's it. That's the extreme of it.
It becomes extreme. It's pretty terrible.
But it is interesting, and I have for a while now been, a lot quieter about what I'm chasing at any one particular time, until the point where we do one of these podcasts and I can't help because I just like
talking to a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're just chatting, and then I forget, and I'm like, "Fuck."
But anyway, Tommy Henderson goes on to add, and then we get PJ Ryan piling in. Patrick Ryan. I found out his name's Patrick. So Tommy Henderson. When I started collecting Marvel cards, it was just me and a couple of friends. When I came back to collecting, I just did it by myself, perusing eBay. Typo there. Anyway, then I began to explore the Facebook groups and saw how many of us are out there. Yes, we are out there. Out there. Some of us more out there than others. Yes, I'm talking to you. Not you. You.
You.
It was great seeing the international appeal of Marvel cards. However, I also learned some lessons. The biggest one being, don't share too much of what you're after. With the influx of people with very deep pockets, I got scooped out of several Grail level cards back in 2020-21. I actually went back and deleted some of my posts here in the group and started my own personal page. He's got a really nice little page, Tommy Henderson Collection, I think it is. That's just for mates. Now I'm back to where I started, collecting with a small group of people, but now these people are from all over the world. So it's interesting. He's gone through that process and he's changed how he approaches it. He's changed what he does.
Tommy's an OG, man. Tommy's an OG. Like the stuff Tommy has is really refined and smart, but he has it's really beautiful people.
Now you can also hear us talk to Tommy about his collection of error cards on episode I can't remember. So maybe I'll audio dub that over. But it's a really interesting episode.
Yeah, he's my error expert. If there's anything miscut error, I always go to Tommy.
Yeah,
he knows. Mess around.
He's got stuff. He's got some next level printing production stuff that you just
stupid shit.
Don't see. Insane. It's like, how has he found it? Because literally.
He hunts. He really hunts.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
He knows how to hunt very well.
He reminds me of that. What's that expression they use for a submarine? That silent killer. Run silent, run deep. He's one of those.
He is a silent killer. Yeah.
So PJ Ryan, Patrick Ryan comes in and has an interesting reaction on this one, actually. I've read it repeatedly in this post and it kind of pisses me off. Don't share too much, in speech marks. I'm not mad at anybody who said, actually agree, but it's upsetting that it needs to be a thing at all. you can't share what you're searching for or passionate about because some random knuckle dragger will scoop them all up. I love his expression there.
He just won me over.
Patrick's words, not mine. Or no,
I love it.
Don't sue. Don't sue. This is the saddest part of the community. Where's the community mentality in that? Isidore Chavez, Izzy.
Izzy
Comes in with an interesting counterpoint. I, for one, am the opposite in that. I share everything from low end to high end cards or art.
It's true.
For me, even if I need or want something, I still share it. For example, the 2017 Black Widow Royal Foil of 99 from Fleer Ultra Spider-Man. I showed this about a year ago on Instagram Live. Meanwhile, the of 10 pattern that sat in my eBay cart for over a year, it finally sold the next day. So my fault for letting it sit. But I later found another, and now how I got it was super special, and I was always remember it. So I know many like to stay more private, and that's fine. But for me, if I can't share what I love with the world, collecting for me would go back to something I did alone. But engaging in others' passions with your own is a wonderful thing. So I like that. I like that sentiment. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to do what you're comfortable with.
And also, like, you have to, I mean, for me, I interpret that in my Fausto head as like riding the line, because that is, I mean, Surfer's always been expensive for me. I don't know. I mean, I imagine Black Cat's the same for you, right? Like, I don't feel like you've ever gotten lucky.
Oh, I have.
With a Black Cat. But like,
I have. But that's the thing. It's getting more difficult the past couple of years.
That's what I mean. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I've got a combination lucky, but like, there's someone always hunting for it. Does that? Yeah. That's what I mean by that. Because like, I'm not bidding on Surfer alone. Like when I bid on Spot, it's me and Letty. And then I have to message Letty and be like, do you want this? And he's like, yeah. So I stop or he stops, you know, whatever. Yeah, so like, that's my only, like, that's the dude. That's me, me and my buddy Letty who like Spot. That's it. You know
Kevin
what I mean? Like, Kevin number 2. But like, if it's Surfer, I can't tell you how many times I've bid on a Surfer card that had at least 15, 20 bids on it from like 4 or 5, 6 people. Like, like you, I mean, I imagine it's far worse for Black Cat with you, right?
It didn't used to be. No, that's the thing. It didn't used to be. Sketches, yes. Sketches has always been an interesting one. But
sorry.
But
talking about Sketches.
But with but that's because with Sketches you also have people who are after the artist, or who are just like collecting from that set. So you have a multiple level of factors, which I guess you could have with something like Spider-Man Metal Universe. There'd be people who are trying to put a turquoise set together, for example. Yeah. So, you know, it just so happens that that's the Black Cat they're going after on that eBay auction thing. I have found in the last 2 years, you got the holy trinity of doom, quite frankly. For that, you've got the market generally rising. You've got more Black Cat collectors out there, and there are more. You know, we've got one coming up on episode in a week or two, whenever we turn that around and get it up. And then you've got the third thing is that people know I go after it now. So, you know, there is a little bit of that tax. And people, you know, some people have openly messaged on group that they think it's fine to add a character tax to things, which I think I mean, because I'm obviously the target. It's like the tourist tax when you go somewhere and you've got that you know, one menu for locals and one menu for the tourists.
Character tax,
you know,
huh? That's nice. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, a nice eyebrow there. The
character tax.
but no, someone's actually used that expression.
I know they have. I know multiple people who would use that. I think.
I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Mm-hmm. But there's also the kind of weirdness of like, I think character tax came up with MM16 more than anything, because like so idealistically, well, not idealistically, but, you know, factually, like a base tier 4s out of 99 and an orange, it's not tier, but an orange that has a character that's featured in tier 4 base orange You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
price is somehow higher on those, even though they're evenly numbered. You know what I mean? And people
Yeah,
are
yeah.
still considering like a T4. So there's definitely a character tax for a lot of people. I don't know if I wouldn't do necessarily a character tax. Like when I price something, if it's like the more interesting card, you know what I mean? Or like in terms of what people would be interested in. I mean, the safest bet is just put it at auction instead of trying to figure out your price. You know what I mean? A lot of people put it up as like this outlandish price on eBay. You know what I mean? I don't know how much good that does. I guess that keeps you somewhat safe with best offers. I don't know.
I suppose.
I don't know what the best practice is.
The what was I going to say? Yeah, I had that incident the other year it wasn't Black Cat related actually. It's someone who's an active eBay seller and who's always priced fairly high. So ironically, the market's caught up with him. But he found out through a group that I was after something. I ended up talking to him on Messenger about it, and he immediately put the price of the auction up by over 25% over the buy now. And I just thought, and yeah, I've told you who that person is, and
it just.
I don't know if they're still in group. They're very actually inactive in group, even if they are still in group. I think they barely post at all. But yeah,
too busy screwing people over.
Screwing people over. So anyway, it's one of those things. Karma, babe. It'll come out and bite you. Know what I'm saying? One day, someone will have a card you want. Then we'll see.
But that's what happens, right? Because that you just create that culture.
Yeah, I don't know who this voice is, but we'll go on.
You know, it's funny. I like the voice though. They did this in Pokemon really hard, really hard. Like it was bad. I messaged a guy about a Dratini first edition Gem Mint 10 card because that's my favorite Pokemon, and I have a grade 9. I was going to get the 10, and I messaged him. Same thing happened. I was like, "Hey, I'm interested in getting this. I see the 9 sells for significantly less, but your 10 is at this price. Would you do $200 off or something like that?" It was because he had it crazy priced, and then he bumped it up $500, and every 6 months bumps it higher and higher, and it just sits there. It's been sitting there for like 4 years now, 3 years
in Facebook price jail, I call it.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I don't know, like how small does your have to be for that to give you a thrill? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very weird. It's a very weird situation because it doesn't make me want to buy it. In fact, all it does is make me think, well, I don't need the card now. Or eventually I get it much cheaper than I ever would have paid. Yeah. And that's the weird thing that happens with those type of people because you offer pretty high because they're high and you're asking them. So you want to come in really high because you're like, hey, I'm bothering you. It's not for sale, or it's for sale, but you're not really thinking about selling it. I'm willing to meet you a little higher than I would never pay for this. Just to satisfy what you need to let this go. Because sometimes collectors are the type of people who have a really hard time of letting things go because they have memories attached, or, I get that, especially with sketches. I totally get that. So I always go higher to try to accommodate, but some people really get off that power thing, and that doesn't do anything. I just don't care about the card after that, or I find the card way cheaper from a friend and I pick it up then. Like I just don't think it's a very logical, as a Vulcan thing to say, logical approach to pricing something. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me to be that way.
It's illogical, Captain.
It's illogical.
Isidore Chavez also posted, and I've called this Find the Spark. Adapting is a great way to describe how to be in collecting now. If you don't adapt, you will be negative and sour most of the time. But be a collector and find the spark of what made you one. Read a comic. Look at the cards. Watch cartoons or movies. I suggest commission some artists. What better way to have fun and be inspired? So, yeah, it's kind of like, for me, I relate to that. What I was saying a while back is go back to the source. Go and have a look at what floats your boat in the first place.
Come back to your roots. You always have to do that with your collection.
Exactly.
Always, like I'm doing the the base cards for the Silver Surfer in a high grade just because I'm here. And it's been really awesome to go back to my roots. You know what I mean? And I'm not overpaying, like, you know, because, you know, people who waited so long to grade PSA or whoever they waited so long with and took a long time to return, finally like missed out on the boom or whatever they wanted to do. And they're basically selling cards at like grading fee prices, which is perfect to like do this little adventure that I'm on. Plus I had so many examples of these cards over the years that I've been like getting cleaner. But what's nice is that it does bring me back to the roots of like, I'm looking at 93 Silver Surfer card. I'm like, man, I forget how much I love this card. And like what this card was to me when I was a kid. Like it makes me feel like I don't have to be the a-hole
such a lovely card,
paying $2,000-$3,000 for a 1/1 just because, you know what I mean? It has a 1/1 on the back. You know what I mean? Like I feel it's been really nice. It's been really nice to do that.
Update. Our buddy did not get the Hildebrandt piece.
It wasn't card related.
No, it sold while he was going through checkout. Someone basically completed checkout before him. He was going for it for $75.
I know you get it for $75. That's not an argument. That's me just saying, like, you know, it's you know, I don't know how specific he is with his collection, but you know what I mean? It could have been worse is what I'm trying to get at. Trying to see the brighter side of it.
It could have been worse. Yes, it could have been worse. He could have then caught on fire after realizing that would have been worse.
Okay. I see my optimism is not appreciated here. That's fine.
But it could have. That's an example of it being worse. I'm not wrong.
I meant like it could have been like a prelim to like a card art or something.
I know. I love how we've gone from is it card related to spontaneous combustion?
He's like, no.
Meanwhile, there will now be
combustion.
There will now be a collection of Captain America stuff being sold off for his family. Anyways.
It's not real, right? Spontaneous combustion is not real, right? That's just a conspiracy thing. It's not real.
It is. Google it.
It isn't.
No, spontaneous combustion.
I'm not going to Google.
No, spontaneous combustion was before the internet. I remember reading books about it when I was at
because
school.
it was just because they didn't understand.
Because I went to school before the internet.
I went to school before the internet. Oh God, how old are we?
Were you still writing on slates when you were at school? Was it blackboards and chalk and desks?
No, we had this. I think it was called a rock and a stick, and we were just like chiseling. That's what it was.
Chiseling.
I was chiseling before writing.
All right, good. And next week we're going to have chisel card artist.
That would be a great competition. Chisel me a sketch card.
Chisel card. There you go. Is it 2.5, 3.5 bit slate? Chisel something.
If there was ever a card age called Stone Age, that would be the sketch card variant.
My goodness me! Can you imagine? I love it.
Stone Age.
Stone cards. Upper deck, make it happen.
Cards.
Upper deck, make it happen.
Literally,
and we're not talking about Infinity Stone here. PJ Ryan, take a step back. Being a set collector at heart, I've had to come to a realization that wouldn't be a possibility with modern sets. Aside from winning the Mega Millions tonight, congratulations if you did, there was just no way to chase down and acquire all the parallels, inserts, achievements, etc. That's a truism of all modern card sets. It's, apart from some crazy mofos like Keith, bless him, who does, go hard and try and do that. There's very few people that do that.
There's a lot of people. A lot of people in the sense that people like, I've known so many people who like when they buy on ePack, they really are just like checking off. Part of the set. It's impressive.
Yeah. There's maybe one ePack era set I would want to do that for. And that's annual 2018-19. For some reason,
I'm excited to finally get into.
I love that set.
I'm excited to get into annual when Surfer appears, when he does.
Yeah,
an annual. I'm excited to try it because I've never collected annual like you guys have, and you guys always seem to have so much fun with it.
Yeah,
so
it's fun. Well, it was more fun before they changed up Pack Wars
Oh
a little
that's right,
bit,
they
and
changed
you know
that.
the current, and yeah, but Marvel Annual 1819 was just perfection. They got the balance perfect. The quality of the cards was exquisite. Even the base cards with the foiling around the edges, they're just gorgeous. In fact, let me have a brief pause, and I will show you some Marvel Annual cards that came in my shipment. If I can find them, here they are. I mean, just look. I mean, these are just the regular base. Look at the borders on
Oh,
that. With the
that's the
foiling.
regular base with the
Yeah,
silver?
regular base with the silver. Yeah, that's the thing. Which is why I think with the last two annual sets, they just dropped that. I remember talking about
that's
it.
garbage.
But then you've got the coloured parallels, the purple and the blue, and the reds and all that. Can I find the others?
How many parallels are in annual now?
How many Oh, okay. I'm not sure what the current modern set has got in terms of the Can I find these? Can I? Bollocks.
Aside for the holograms, I always like those holograms.
Yeah, the holograms. The holograms are nice, actually. I can't find. I did have some parallel cards, but the earlier annuals had the gold and the red border. This is annuals 2016.
See, that's what I
the
remember.
EPAC achievement with the gold border. Yeah, that's just a smooth gold on that one.
And is that Terry Dotson?
Yeah, that's the one I've got the 4 plates for.
That's what I thought. I remembered it.
But then, so annual now, that border isn't foil at all. So do you see what I mean? That's just printed, which I think is a real shame. That said, again, I remember I said this much on the annual episode we did a while back. The foil in the chase sets is where all that money went.
Oh, okay.
Because they're ridiculously shiny. The like the number one spot, for example. You can't move for foiling on that one.
Sure,
they're beautiful. And then, of course, the holograms. So this is from the first year they did hologram, which was Marvel Annual 19 and 20. They just did one level of hologram.
Ooh.
And that's the alpha.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
And then from Annual 2021, they did 2 levels. They did the foil board, which was numbered to 49.
See, I dig that a lot, especially with her like that.
And then they did the regular hologram. Now, interestingly, they were numbered to 20 for Marvel Annual 19 and 20. Marvel Annual 2021, they were numbered to 21.
Oh, I like them already. That's a good idea.
Yeah, it is a nice idea, but the hologram on the back of that is beautiful.
Well, that's like Marvel Now, Marvel Beginnings type.
Both of these were very, very kindly gifted to me. So thank you. I can't remember the names of the people who gifted these to me, but thank you so much for that.
Lucky. That's sweet.
That one I paid through the nose for, obviously, but as you do. But
as you do.
But I have digressed massively. Patrick Ryan. So he was saying that PJ Ryan was saying that, however, older sets, less popular mainstream sets, are still relatively easy to obtain and surprisingly enjoyable to put together. Some killer Loki sketches, which I'm becoming more of a fan of, an incredible actress is also to be found. Take a step back and see what the entire community has to offer, and not just what pops up on YouTube first. Which I thought was interesting. So, basically the stuff that everyone's shouting about loudest is the thin end of the wedge. There's so much more.
Honestly,
that's the thing. And that's the richness and depth of Marvel cards. There's so much there to go after.
There's so many people that got into Marvel cards this year and last year who I've spoken to, and they're just like, I had no idea this existed.
Yep.
This is a crazy nice effect. This is so much better than anything I've been collecting so far.
Yeah.
Pokemon, Star Wars, or sports or whatever, Magic, because there's an inventiveness with Marvel cards that is pretty expansive. Not to say those other ones aren't, but I do like how Marvel switches it up from set to set. Perfect example of that is Marvel Flair. You know what I mean? Or what is that set with the plexiglass and the other ones, the Fresnel, Fresnel.
Ages, Marvel Ages.
Ages. Look at
Yes.
Ages, right? Like, who'd have thought Ages would have had some interesting things in there? And there are so many different inserts in the Ages set that are just
Word
so
cloud, the flavorful, the
they're
Fresnels.
cool, man.
Yeah, it's inventive stuff.
They're really nice. There's some really inventive things in there, really impressive. And that just came out of like Ages, which I didn't expect to have that kind of diversity and set. And
Ages had some really good stuff. I mean, the Decades chase set.
The Decades are nice, man.
Decades should be its own
those
set
for a little bit and then stopped because I had to. But Decades should be its own set.
Decades should be its own set. But just do it in that. Forget about the numbered parallels. Just do it in that format.
Way.
Yeah.
And then you have, you could have like sketch card artists do homages to characters in particular decades, have them organized that way. Like a decade set would be really cool.
Just do a 9-up page for each decade. 9-up page for each decade, and then spin off and do some chase sets based around, that concept. Yeah. This is really good idea. Just keep it tight. Don't number parallel it. Just make a satisfying set that sells because it's good.
I think you can parallel that set and not be hardcore about it. Like the cards from the 60s are out of 60. The cards from the 80s are out of 80.
Yeah.
You don't have to do like crazy, like 10, 5s, 1s and all that stuff. You can make it light and numbered at the same time, because like 80 and 60, those are not like going to like kill you. You know what I mean? Those are not like card chases.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be nice.
I think the magic number is
3 is the magic number.
Is the magic number. I don't know. I guess 50 can be pretty tough to chase a set out of 50.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It just depends.
Definitely. But yeah, no, Patrick, that's a good idea. That's nice that, take a step back, just take yourself, see the board.
Yeah.
So what chess players say, see the whole board, This is an interesting one. Brian Bode, who we had on a couple of times. I've noticed he's a lot quieter on the groups, and obviously there's not been a tremendous amount released, certainly in his wheelhouse, which is MCU kind of things. Be selective is what I've jotted down for him. So basically he said, I'm spending considerably less than I did for a litany of reasons, including kids in college, rising prices on everything, middling income, and needing to tighten up spending habits. Well, I think everyone's facing that particular challenge at the moment, wherever they are. That being said, the quest in and of itself is not much different than it has ever been. Find cards that excite you and try to guess which ones might appreciate over the course of time. I don't build sets, and coming from the sports side, you learn you can't go after everything, and that others with far more money will always have things you want. And that's an interesting mentality, because I think the sports side, in my brief dabble with sports card with the NFL stuff a few years back, I was trying to complete certain things, and I just realised it's just not feasible. I mean, it is feasible, but it's not easy. The collection has had to take a few hits to pay some bills, but I've been able to acquire some things with, at least in my opinion, have good upside potential. So let's see how it goes. Instead of home runs, I'm kind of going for singles and doubles now. So I think that's a baseball metaphor. I'm not sure what a single or double is in relation to a home run in baseball. But
is he talking about burgers?
No, baseball. Home runs.
That's a sport.
So instead of home runs, I'm going, apparently it's a sport. People play with balls. But anyway.
That's the one where they hold the really big sticks.
The really big stick, yeah. And they wear a helmet, and then they throw the ball really hard at each other's faces and try not to get hit by it.
And runs around them in circles.
Yeah. Basically, that's the one. Anyway. Sorry, sports fans. It's the Marvel Card Collectors podcast, not the sport.
We have to throw a jab here and there once in a while.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, we collect men in tights. So what? Okay, we have wrestling in that in common.
And ladies in Spanish.
That's it.
Here's a question. Does Silver Surfer wear any clothing at all? Has he got like silver pants?
He does. So when Surfer was first out there, they put him in whitey tighties, and he had underwear. Yeah, Surfer had underwear. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't. It didn't have like an elastic band on it. It didn't say Hanes. You know what I mean? But it was like
it didn't have a Y on the front for him to put.
Yeah, they basically gave him a Speedo. type
Okay.
of thing. You know what I mean? But I'm from Miami, so that's normal.
Yeah.
But
Budgie smugglers.
yeah, and then they made him a silver
Codpiece?
kind of just like eunuch
Okay.
kind of whole thing. And that's where we are now. And then there's a lot of like leg covering stuff. So you don't see certain things, but he's not like Mr. Manhattan. You're not gonna get a show. You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah. Mr. Manhattan. Mr. Manhattan's a dirty hound.
Dirty dog.
He is definitely. So, but Brian, it's interesting that because what Brian does, he obviously gets stuff for himself, but he also buys stuff. You know, he's a speculator in that sense. So he does that.
Brian is a major speculator.
Thing. Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Yeah, he says. I mean, from what I remember, he collects that way. He collects, but with the idea that eventually the stuff, I think he said, would go to his kids.
Yeah. He did all that sports stuff for his kids.
Safety net.
You know.
Yeah. That's how he views it. I mean, if I've learned anything from people who collect sports, it's a couple of things, but two major things. One, you always get multiples.
Mm-hmm.
And two, when you deem something as investable or whatever, you know what I mean? You basically focus on that and you make that your thing. You make that your specific thing you hunt for. I don't think Marvel card people are the same way. I've met a lot of people who stack, their cards, and people who try to control the market on certain serial numbers for characters and stuff like that because of the upside. So I know that exists. We know people who do that. You know what I mean? I'm to each their own. I probably would do it too if I found surfers, but I can't see myself spending all that money on those things when I'm building up a larger collection. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I mean, for you, have you ever, like, if you had a card that was out of 10, which you've had plenty of cards out of 10 or out of, 5 or whatever, do you stack those normally? Like, if you have a low serial number card, would you stack them?
No. I did consider it on X-Men Metal Universe. Only had the one Black Cat card, which was the buyback from Marvel Metal. And there were 10 of those, and I got one, and then within a very short space of time, I had the opportunity to buy another 2. I did consider it, and I could have afforded it at the time because I just sold off a load of masterpieces when I was trimming down and just not having the parallels, just having the base. And I was like, no, I don't think I want to. And I put that money towards the vacation in the States.
That's the thing.
So I don't regret it, but I did have the opportunity. I could have over the space of that month, 2 months, I could have probably locked down half of them. Yeah.
See, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I had the same opportunity for the Flare buyback out of 20. Because there's a legacy one, the Surfer base, and then the Power Cosmic. And I got all 3 of those. And I think I did double up on one of them because it was like part of a trade type of thing. You know what I mean? But I had the same opportunity. There were like a lot of them coming out and they were cheaper. And you know what I mean? So maybe I had 2 or 3 of one at one point, and I put one on ComC for the price I paid for the other one, just to, like, you know what I mean, type of thing. But I know. I think a lot of sports people, that's common practice. For a lot of, even like Pokemon, absolutely. Like I know a lot of Pokemon card collectors that, like, they don't mess around. That if they see a 10 of a particular card and it's like under whatever amount, they'll just like get a bunch of 10s of that card just to take them out of the pop report. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
Good luck to them.
Weird.
Thank you for that, Brian. Jason Smith. The bit in House of M where Scarlet Witch says, "No more mutants."
Yeah,
and and then basically, I think it was Decimation. I think it was the event in the comics, and there's only 198 mutants left after that from thousands. Down to
that's
that.
Insane.
Anyway, so I've written this. No more UD. I've been staying completely away from packs and boxes as the prices are just so inflated. That stinks, because that was always my favourite part of collecting over 30 plus years. Now I just buy singles here and there, but nothing higher end, too much risk. I've actually been buying baseball again, Topps products only, And we'll stay completely clear of Upper Deck after Spider-Man Metal Universe. I'm only a small fish, though. That's interesting, though, that he's kind of decided to bail on newer Upper Deck product after Spider-Man Metal Universe, which is...
I think the pandemic really burned a lot of collectors, and I think a lot of companies burned a lot of collectors. Mostly not purposeful, I'm sure. Like, I don't think anybody wants to put out a bad product. Like, I know I was watching a few things about Tops and Fanatics and things that are going on with Upper Deck 2. You know, it's one of those things where it's like quality control was a huge issue. Moving forward, I wonder how that changes. We saw with Spider-Man Universe how it looked a lot better. There was
definite improvement from X-Men
major
Metal Universe.
improvement. It feels like so
massive.
Hopefully it was just the pandemic and it's not a common occurrence. Which I have faith that it was just pandemic and it won't be a common occurrence. But there are other things that are problematic, like I don't know.
Well, the thing we talked about last week, the Tops and the artists and the
race and the arts. And then there was something else where someone loaded a picture of what the next Star Wars Master Works was going to look like.
Told me one of the actors.
And one of the actors showed a picture of it, and it was just designed. It didn't look like it came out of the Star Wars universe. And which is interesting, because Star Wars has this kind of theme about it where the cards appear like they came out, like either the Empire, the Resistance. It feels like it's of that rustic or really chrome-like world type of, you know what I mean? So you have that effect, and these were made, and they look like they were made for jackass influencers. Like it was made for like people who were just there to show off things on camera. Like it didn't feel like it had any thematic sense around the properties of Star Wars and stuff like that. You know, I think Upper Deck hasn't done that that I've seen, really. You know what I mean? And Marvel's a different beast because like we already have certain like aesthetics to our sets. Masterpieces, when they made that made a lot of sense because it kind of harkened back to the designs from 92, 93. You know what I mean? Like the font was minimal, the border was minimal, and it didn't distract from the art. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. It seems strange. I hope we don't see stuff like that happen where we're getting cards designed not for hobbyist collectors, but they're designed to be propped up in media.
Yeah, they're leaning into the pump, basically. You know, they're leaning a little bit too much into it,
I'm hoping that doesn't happen with Upper Deck. I think, you know, the price change with Spider-Man Metal and stuff like that, you know, that's, I don't know, maybe something to do with that, but I don't know.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Adam Black, no relation to Black Adam. Says he's no longer buying new product. The consistent increase in the new product has led me to no longer buying the product new. It feels too much like gambling. So I'm exclusively a second-hand shopper. Since those prices can be high too, I just wait months after the product has been released to see what's available at decent rates. Coming up in our next State of the Hobby episode, we will be talking about this and other good hobby tips. As such, I've decreased the amount of characters I collect. I was at around 8 to 10 characters a few years ago. 8 to 10 characters. I have trouble doing one. You kind of dabble with 2. Well, 3 if you include.
Who said this?
Adam Black. It's 8 to 10 characters. I can't imagine being a character collector and going after that many characters, but I guess it depends how deep you're going down the rabbit hole.
I mean, Spot has like maybe 20, 25 cards in all of Marvel cards.
And that's it.
You know what I mean? But like,
I'm going to go after Cloud.
Mando, huh?
I'm going to go after Cloud as a character and just nail it in one set.
I'd be done. But yeah, I know people. Yeah, man, that's weird. Like, yeah, I can't even imagine what grouping of characters that would be where that wouldn't be hard.
I was around 8 to 10 characters a few years ago. Now I'm about 5 and don't plan to add more. Parallels being heavily featured made me less likely to collect them all and just stick to the most limited parallels. So that's that whole parallel fatigue, I think, that's set in
Yeah, dude,
almost
I'm out.
immediately.
Yeah.
Benjamin Carpenter has kind of said a very similar thing. These days, treat ripping packs and boxes like buying a brand new car. Sorry, I'm misreading this. I let someone else take the depreciation hit and buy what I want secondhand. This means I will never drive a one-of-one PMG Ferrari, but I can stay happy in the secondary Toyota Camry sketch market. Still gets me where I want to go.
That's good.
A combination of
That's
missing
really good.
words in his thing and my butchered reading, but you get the idea, yeah. You
That's
get the
pretty
idea.
good. That's good. I like it.
Matt Fuller said it keeps it fun, and he actually posted a really good thing. But it was after we recorded on the quitting thing, so I wanted to include him this time. As you'll know from when you heard Matt on episode, can't remember. His sketch collection is just vast, but beautifully curated. In an effort to keep my sketch collecting focused on the fun and avoid it being about investing, I'm trying to get sketch cards featuring obscure characters. Then when I find them, I'm learning about the oddballs that are depicted. Some I remember from a story, others I read about for the first time. So he's kind of finding the character and then reading about them in the comics, which is great. I started focusing on just mutants, but really am open to any now because I love learning the stories. Some are absurd, like I Scream, who can turn into ice cream. No, really, that's his power. Others are oddly tragic, like Bailey Hoskins, who can explode, but only once because he will die when he does. It's like I think you can say the same about you and me.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. In short, it's been a way to reconnect with the comics and the stories which were so important to me as a kid and has helped keep the hobby fun for me. Now, I'm going to pause at this point. Do you think he's trolling us? Do you think he's just made those up?
I think that's 100% real.
Really? Okay.
Like, if I know Matt, there's no reason. Matt has found the most obscure random
oh my goodness
mutants ever. I don't think he would be. I don't think he has to.
Bailey Hoskins.
I think that's real.
I'm not being funny.
I would not be surprised.
Bailey Hoskins could be a really good band name because it's quite a good story when you explain what it means. I like that, Bailey.
So
Hoskins.
Ridiculous to think that that's a mutant power because we could all explode technically.
I know.
Maybe
it's like bees. They sting someone once they're dead.
Yeah, that's right. Some bees.
Because basically the sting is their ass. So they leave their ass in someone's skin and they walk away and they die.
Might be able to be found in bees.
Could be.
Maybe that's
could be. I've always maintained that wasps are mutant bees. I can't stand wasps. I can't stand wasps. The wasps are first against the war when the revolution comes. If I have my way, I can't do them at all. I'm
on your side.
Good. David Benk or Benke. Not sure how you pronounce your name, David, but I've titled his comment "Tough Transition." I believe the pump just accelerated my decline. I was already steering away from the new set because of the size and number of variants. However, the influx of sports car collectors and flippers definitely turned me off the hobby in general. I suppose I've not done a great job adapting and finding my place within the current climate. I'm sure I could find something specific to collect, but as a completionist, I just feel empty not having it all. And I did reply to his comment when he posted that and said that I was kind of in that same space because I was trying to collect all of everything, and you just got to get to the point where you accept actually I can't do that. You just go for the choice meats, choice cuts instead of trying to get it all. But it's a difficult switch.
I can't imagine. I guess I'm kind of having that with Surfer right now, but I've met so many set collectors out there like yourself and others. And it's tough, man. Marvel cards kind of welcomes collectors to have that. Like there's always been, and I felt it too. And I've had sets and I've done this with sets. Like, it's not like I haven't done this, but
have you had sets recently?
I've had sets.
Goodness. I'm
nice.
Sorry.
No, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is like everybody kind of wants to have that library of Marvel cards. You know what I mean? That kind of active record keeping of all the cards that came out. Like I feel like so many Marvel card collectors are about that. I mean, I was when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Even I like took sets and categorized, followed the checklist and did all that kind of good stuff for a long time. And I'm kind of doing that with the character collection now, but I don't know, man. Like for me, when it starts becoming a chore, it's no longer collecting. And I think that was the issue with me deciding not to go for sets, is that it felt like a chore rather than something I actively wanted to do. Yeah. Because there's there's a lot of really great things you get from getting a set. You get to see all the different artwork. You get to see all the different things that are done, yada, yada, yada. But
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. You have to adapt. You have to adapt, and that's part of collecting.
But hang in there, David.
If you want to like keep going.
Hang in there, David. Someone else did actually comment something as well, but I've not written it down. And I deliberately pulled these out of the post so I wouldn't be scrolling up and down looking for stuff like last time. So yes, people, I've actually done a bit of prep.
Crazy day. It's so cold out here. Is that hell freezing over? That's so weird. You always do prep work.
A pig just flew past the window.
I just flew by the window.
Yeah, exactly. Joe Weinwald. Now, Joe, can I just pause here? Joe collects from Rhino, if I remember correctly, but he's also the guy who's put together an artist's signature visual database.
Oh, is that the same guy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, I don't think he's done a fair few sets, but I don't think he's certainly not done every set, but he's done a lot of recent ones. And because there's a crossover of artists as well.
I like him.
So I'll try and see if I can find the link to that. And if I remember, put it in the tasting notes.
Wait, is he like the old school Rhino collector?
I believe so, yeah. Joe's been around for a long time.
Joe's awesome. That collection is awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Joe goes, I'm a character collector. This means I maintain a checklist of every card that I know of, and ultimately would like to add them all. So he's cut from our cloth. The high prices mean that I've passed on several cards. I refer specifically to the one-of-ones and recent green PMG of 10, but there are others. I can spend the asking prices, but I won't. I always have to keep my exit strategy in mind, and I know eventually on a long enough timeline that I will get bored with my collections and will wish to sell and move on. So that's interesting. He's talking about an exit strategy, which could be a whole episode in and of itself.
I know a lot of people that do exit strategy thinking.
Wow.
I don't know.
What you'd part with first, who you'd sell it to, if you'd offer it to someone privately, that kind of thing?
Or like also like you understand that you're not going to go forever doing this thing. Man, that would be a great episode because like I have so many different thoughts on that and like. I mean,
we should get a few people to pile in. Let's get Joe.
I want to do a roundhouse, dude. I'd love to.
Let's get Joe
like an OG character collector.
Let's get Joe.
I totally know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, Character Club 2. Let's do Character Club 2. Get him in.
Can we have a character collector meetup, man? I missed
a meetup.
I love character collecting so much.
Yeah.
Let's do a round table. Let's do
a round table. Yeah. You said a meetup. I thought I was going to have to
I said
get on a plane. Yeah. No, that's fine. I don't mind.
I would love to do.
Someone pays the airfare. I'll go anywhere. Hint. Anyway, and I kind of want to circle us into land now because this is a really nice positive one that Stephen Shane came up with. So remember, we're talking about evolving and how you've adapted to kind of the last year, 18 months. Stephen Shane sums it up with collect for you. I really haven't changed much. I still have restraint. I'm patient. I always look for the best deal. I research what I'm buying. Sometimes I'll pay more for something even though it's a little high, but hey, I work hard, my bills are paid, and I have a savings. Why not? Hopefully prices continue to fall. I'll soak it up. I don't care if the market falls flat on its face and the cards aren't worth anything. I collect for me, not my family, not for profit, not for retirement, not to support a hype.
Rockstar.
So
I wish you would get cheap. I want it all to get cheap.
Right, Stephen Shane. Yeah, no, I love it. It's just I like the sentiment to collect for you. I mean, whatever you're doing, just collect for you. Don't collect.
No, I mean
anyone else.
You don't collect for any other reason.
Someone else
other than
tells
pure
you to.
enjoyment.
And PJ Ryan was all over this like a tramp on chips, replied, agreed. No intention of selling. I bought local collections and lots. I used to trade or sell. I don't make a killing. It's 90s cards, not graded. Laughing emoji. But yeah, hopefully the market falls. And I think the ones are truly in it for the hobby and not the hype will be happier. And the overall morale of the hobby would rise. So that was an interesting one, the morale of the hobby, which I think has definitely been a little bit low, hence us doing this kind of state of the hobby sense check kind of just moment.
I'm hoping that by us doing these episodes that people feel like they're connected to other people who are feeling the same way. And that will help morale.
Yeah,
because
everyone's chiming in. And there's so much interaction going on these posts as well.
Major. I mean, there's people here. I mean, you're not alone, right? Everyone's feeling the same way.
Yeah. And there's different content talking about it as well. So it's not just us, it's not just the group.
It's not just us. Yeah. It's everywhere.
I tell you what's interesting. Can I tell you what's interesting? I'm going to tell you what's interesting. Let me tell you what's interesting. I discovered something new, and it's brand new. Last night in another group, someone basically wished all the group members Happy New Year. But what they did is they've got a new function in Facebook groups now where you can tag @everyone, and it will literally tag everyone in the group. It doesn't actually list them all by name in one massive post that you have to scroll through, but everyone gets a notification and is tagged in that post. You can only use it once a day as an admin. Okay, which is fair enough because you don't want to be spamming all those people.
Spamming your whole group members, yeah.
But today's question, which is going to be next week's episode, well, there's a couple of things. Jason Montgomery, thank you, Jason. Already pipped me to the post. He didn't know I was going to do it, so he'd already asked about everyone's 2023 collecting goals. So that is going to be what we talk about next. Spoilers. But as a follow-on, I've asked on that about people's strategy. How are they planning to achieve their goals? But also what advice they have for others. So that's our roadmap as we go through this day to a hobby. So next week we're going to be talking about goals and strategy, and then our final, because we're going to do 4, I think. I mean, we might wrap them up in 3, but I'm in my head, I'm thinking 4 because it takes us nicely through January and squares us up for the year. I think the 4th one will be kind of a Cards 101 2023 edition. Like advice that you have for newbies and seasoned collectors alike, tips and tricks, first steps.
I would like that a lot.
But because I've tagged @everyone, it's going crazy. It's going bonkers. There's people I've never heard of. In fact, there's a few newbies in the group who are trying to sell in comments on that post, which is really strange. But what are you going to do? But yeah, there's some good. I've just seen a comment that's absolutely floored me.
Upsetting wise?
I've got no idea what it means.
You can't.
Someone's just commented, hopefully.
Let's end the episode on it.
Hopefully, see some new Marvel content so I can collect scene cards of Moon Boy. And boy is spelled BOI. Who's Moon Boy? Not talking Moon Knight, is it? Do you?
I know Moon Girl, who's on the dinosaur. Yeah. She's the one.
Yeah, Devil Dinosaur. Yeah.
Devil Dinosaur. You know that is. Moon Boy. Maybe they updated it.
Let's just read that one more time, and then I think you need to see us out. Hopefully, see some new Marvel content so I can collect scene cards of Moon Boy.
Scene cards of Moon Boy. Whatever floats your boat, enjoy collecting.
Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. Tasting notes and visuals for each episode can be found on our Facebook page. We're on most social media at the MCC Pod, and you can also watch the video of each episode recording on our YouTube channel. Leave us a voicemail via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Please take a second to subscribe, like, and review our show wherever you find us. Our Facebook community is at MCCW, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide, and MMC, Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. The great music we use on our audio version is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. thanks to the collectors, artists, and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.